both my glasses.
Whoa! What's up, John Mazza? We are live.
Oh, hey, Ryan. We are live.
If only people knew what we just did for 20 minutes to make this. Welcome, everybody.
We're hard workers.
So I was working on a LinkedIn post about how to make a good pitch on Pitchfire, and it made me think, like, you know what? It's a lot easier and more fun to do this on a live stream than to write a long post that you have to read. So we're going to dive into how to make a good cold pitch. And the cold pitch, this could work as an email script. This could work as a, we prefer if you'd use it on Pitchfire, but you can literally do this on anything, right? I mean, this is the same framework we use for everything. For the sake of the demo today of showing you how to do it and send a pitch on Pitchfire, I'm going to pitch John Mazza in this scenario on Pitchfire, and I'm going to talk about how I come up with what I do for a pitch, and we can discuss it. Before we dive into this little framework here, Mazza, prospecting is way harder than it used to be, right?
Yeah, it's definitely. I remember the days we used to get like 30+% response rates.
Yeah,
but the average response rate was like 7-8% back then. Now we're below 1% for response rates. It's tough.
Yeah,
nobody's getting their emails even seen nowadays.
Yeah, it's kind of one of the reasons we did this. I'm not trying to make it so that people can't cold pitch other people with Pitchfire. We're trying to make it so that you have a place that you still can do it. So pretend that we're making the roads to do this. The roads. What I want to do is I'm going to talk through the framework that I use, and it's pretty simple. And I'm actually going to do it in a pitch to you. So let's turn on a screen share for a second. And this music is getting really, really, I'm getting too amped up. Like, I got to kill it. You're distracting now, right?
Yeah, we can fade it out. There we go. Or turn it down a little bit.
Still playing on mine. I don't know if we failed, but all right. So I'm going to screen share. I'm going to talk through how I do this, and it's going to get weird, but we're going to be okay. So I'm going to share my entire screen. Actually, I'll just do a tab to start with. All right. So this is John Mazza's Pitchfire account. Now, you could do this on John's LinkedIn too if you wanted to. So like I could go look at your LinkedIn profile here. And what I typically do when I want to prospect someone is I try to find something that's unique about them that I can talk about. Now, if I didn't know you, John, and I was prospecting you, I typically try to lead with something that I have in common with that person. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I feel the same way.
Like all these people are like, given your role as a marketer at DealPad, like they might say something like that, or they hug that too much. What I'm actually trying to do is I'm trying to find something that I have in common with you, because no other sales rep can say that in a cold email.
It's a hell of a lot more easy to be honest.
Yeah, it's how you make friends with people. So I'm going to pretend that I don't know you very well, and I'm going to pretend that I noticed that you went to Haverhill High School. All right, is that cool?
Yeah, that's cool.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pitch you and say, I'm going to go, hey, John. I was super surprised when I saw on your LinkedIn. I'll fix my spelling error, people. Come on.
Yeah.
I was super surprised when I saw on your LinkedIn that you went to Haverhill High School. I'm going to drop a knowledge bomb for you. I don't know if you know it. High school. I used to meet up with friends at Pilgrim Lanes to go bowling and play DDR 15 to 20 years ago. Is Pilgrim Lane still in business?
No, it's gone. They tore that down. It's a doctor's office. It's lame.
We need doctors. This place was awesome. It was a little bowling alley that was like a candlepin bowling alley. And if people don't know, candlepin bowling is like a very New Englandy thing, but like you hit pins and they're a lot smaller and you use a smaller ball than big ball bowling. Though I like big ball bowling more, by the way, for people listening. So I might write, hey, John.
Candlepin guy.
when I saw on your LinkedIn that you went to Haverhill High School. I used to meet up with friends at Pilgrim Lanes to go bowling and play DDR 10 to 15 years ago. Wild times. What do you think? If you got that as your first sentence and you're seeing this, the reason that you want to make your first sentence about your prospect is because that's what they're going to see in the preview message on their email. If you're sending an email, that's what they're going to see on the badge. That's what they're going to see on their phone. Or if they have compact mode on their inbox, that's what they're going to see. If you saw this, would you continue reading the email?
I definitely would. Yes. It brings back memories and feelings. Yes. Of course I would.
Exactly. And if you have trouble finding stuff to connect or relate to a prospect, what I would recommend is see if you can do stuff like geography. You could do stuff that they might mention their personality on their online profile, or your worst case scenario, your fallback option can be industry and space and area that they work in. You could do mutual connections sometimes. There's all kinds of things like that. But let's move on. The next part that I like to do in my message is I want to tell you why I'm actually contacting you in the first place. Wanted to see if we could meet up sometime over a Zoom. I'm going to put a Zoom because I don't want you to think I want to meet in person. You know what I mean? That's part of it because we live kind of geographically close to each other in this instance.
Mm-hmm.
Now what I'm going to try and do is I need to reveal a pain and talk about that pain. One of my favorite sales trainers that's out there is Josh Braun. He calls it poking the bear. Do you know about poking the bear? Can you talk about it a little bit?
Poking the bear. That's kind of trying to gauge interest by asking about like a specific pain or problem that I might be experiencing.
Yeah, I think a good way of talking about it is like Josh does a really good example of explaining it. Your pain sentence needs to be something where like you're kind of upsetting them a little bit by bringing up like, you know what, that is a pain. So a good example, Braun does this story where he talks about he goes to a mall to buy a bucket, or he goes to an auto shop to buy a bucket to clean his car, and he just picks a bucket, goes to the cash register, and the clerk that works there was like, hey, you don't want to scratch your car, do you? And they're like, no, what? Well, he's like, no, why? And they're like, oh, we actually make a bucket that you can rub your sponge at the bottom of it. It takes the rocks off the sponge so you don't scratch your car. And it might cost a couple dollars more, but he just basically poked a bear about scratching, and it made Braun ask a curiosity question afterward. Mm-hmm. So you want to do that when you're revealing pain with a prospect and sending a pitch to someone. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to poke I'm selling to you I'm trying to get you as a salesperson to come on here and get your sales team to pitch people on Pitchfire. So I might poke the bear asking a pipeline question. Like I might say, I was curious. Oh, sorry. I'm really bad at spelling live on LinkedIn, aren't I? I was curious.
In real life too.
Yeah. People need to know this story. I was curious if your team is struggling to build pipeline. Notice I'm not actually jumping into I feel weird asking these two questions. I'm going to space it this way and then do a new sentence. I was curious if your team is struggling to build pipeline. I'm not going to go spout off a bunch of stuff. I'm going to pick one sentence. This is who we are. Pitchfire is building a new way for companies to build pipeline. I don't need to go into the details about it on this email. I'm just trying to get a response, right?
Mm-hmm.
I now need to close it. What do I want them to do? What are your thoughts on talking? Now, we can break this down and make it a little bit better, but I just want to get this out of the way and explain. It's short and sweet. It's in an F shape, so it's easy to read. I'm not really going into huge details about Pitchfire here. I think I could actually add a little more because I'm going to offer you money to answer this pitch. So I might add a little bit of Pitchfire. But what do you think of this if you got this message?
Initially, like it's at least going to get a read and it's going to get a response. You know, it depends on whether or not I'm actually feeling those specific pains or, if I have my boss breathing down my neck about how much pipeline we're building, that could be an issue. But, it definitely would get me to read it and understand exactly what you said. So I think you could definitely make this longer if you
So,
wanted to.
so Casey said online, hi Casey, by the way, thanks. Sorry, I just realized I wasn't looking at the screen. I ignored 99% of outreach, but I remember 3 to 4 years ago, I responded to a recruiter because they talked about how they had a friend who actually backed my board game Kickstarter, Archon. He even found a screenshot of the game and sent it to me. That's cool. I actually didn't know you did that, Casey. That's very cool. Anthony Many, our friend from Weed IQ, said that it would get my attention. So I think that like you can do a lot of these things. Now, everyone you prospect, you're not always going to have this type of relationship with. But anyway, let's finish this off. So I'm going to hit continue. I'm going to stick to 25. I'm just going to offer you $25. I'm going to have to sign in and put my account here. So let me do that really quick. And I'm going to pay you. Let's do it. Done.
Yes.
And I just sent Mazza my pitch. And if the cool part is Mazza is not going to, I'm not going to get charged at all unless Mazza responds to me. And I just was able to access him, write a pitch to him, and not have to take any of that time. So pretty cool. But the key thing here is when you're writing pitches to people, this is a secret weapon that like AI can't keep up with because AI doesn't know you. If you can make stuff about the thing you have in common with that person, it works really well with prospecting. It's something that I've always tried to do my entire life. I mean, I'll give you another example. I cold emailed an investor at Pitchfire last year, and they were based in Chicago. And I messaged them and was like, hey, I love going to Chicago. If I ever got shunned from New England, I would move to Chicago. And a lot of people that hear that are like you might hear like, oh, don't make it about you. You're talking about yourself. But what I'm actually going to do is transition it into being about that person. So in that message, I was like, whenever I go to Chicago, I know it's kind of cliche, but I love getting deep dish pizza. What's your favorite deep dish in town? I've had Pequod's, Luminati's, and what's the other one? Giorgio's? Is that what it's called? Like I've had 3 of them. Are there any other secret spots I should know? Wanted to see if we could talk. And then I could go into my value prop really quick. And you know what we did? The first 3 minutes of the call, we talked about deep dish because I ended up getting the meeting from the prospect. And these are people, investors respond even less than like to pitches than like a prospect does. Anthony makes a good point. I can read the email in less than 30 seconds and I know what you wanted. Yeah, exactly. So that's sort of like, that's the place we want to get to with this stuff. I don't know if you want to do this, Mazza. Do you want to respond to the pitch and show people what that looks like?
Okay. Do you want me to show you responding to the pitch?
Yeah. And actually, you know what's funny? Anthony, you and I got deep dish in Chicago. I remember we were we got it with our friend Corey Bray, and we were eating in the lobby, and then a bunch of people from Weed IQ came, and it was a good time. You were there, I hope, right? Were you there? Yeah, you were there, right?
I was there one of the times.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's screen share and show people what a response looks like. So Maz is going to show you now as a buyer, he got a pitch from me what that looks like. Yeah, that's right. Anthony said we did. There it is. So he's got this pitch here. He's going to click in, and you can see my pitch right there. Mazza, how easy is that to read?
This is very easy to read.
Yeah.
No surprise, blah, blah, blah. Like Anthony said, less than 30 seconds to read it, respond.
And so don't fly through these really quick. So what he can do here is pick the drop down for a second. He can respond with all kinds. Can you pick the drop down, Mazza, and show everything?
Yep. So you're not seeing it.
Oh, it's not showing on the screen, but
yeah.
Okay. So what it does is
because of the screen share.
Yeah, it's because of the screen share. So what it does is it shows a list of different responses that Mazza can pick from. He can pick, I'm using a competitor. He could say something like, I don't think it's going to, I'm guessing it won't work. Try it.
Oh, yeah, because of the window. Weird.
Oh, that's okay. That's right. Yeah, so he can pick these. I see one reason. You say, I'm interested, let's book a meeting. Let's pretend you're interested and book a meeting. If you say you're not the right person, you can recommend another person. You could say you use a competitor already. We designed this based on every response possible that a person can get, because if buyers are on Pitchfire, we want to make sure that they spend more time giving you the qualitative thing than the quantitative thing. Like, we don't need them to just respond really quick. We want quality on this since you're paying for a response from somebody. You made me rye. I hate you / love you. What's you made me? Oh, you made me cry. Um, yeah, and you might respond to this and say, "What are you interested in from the product?" Like the quick pitch. The other thing that you're going to do, Moz, as a buyer, is you're not just going to respond. You're actually probably going to go check out Pitchfire. But because I've linked my calendar as a seller, Mazda can now book right on my calendar based on windows that I've made available as a salesperson. So he's going to book right now. And what it's going to do is create a calendar for us. And now we have a meeting booked. My calendar should already have a Zoom link included in it, and I'll have everything there. Let's kill the screen share, Mazda, and wrap up.
And the money went into my wallet too.
Oh yeah, big spender over here. So now you have money, yes. And you can withdraw that, send it to your bank account. If your company has a policy where they're like, "Hey, I don't want you to pay, I don't want you to get paid to respond to sales pitches," you could actually send that money back to your company, and then your company can use that to buy more vendors or do whatever the hell you want with it. So we allow you to send to business accounts as well.
Or I can withdraw it at any time.
I don't want to talk. I'm not trying to talk about Pitchfire. I'm trying to talk about the focus of this is like when you do your pitches, think about how we make human connections growing up. We have kind of 3 stages of conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Small talk, then there's common interest, and then there's feelings and stuff. And if you want to get to stage 3, which is feelings and fears and all that stuff, you got to start with stage 1 and stage 2. We do it all the time with like small talk and stuff, but like Maz and I instantly had common interest in that pitch because I brought up a geographic location I've been to in his city.
I don't even know if you've talked about that with me before too. So it's like it literally does. It brings about emotions, like thinking about that place from when I was a kid and growing up too.
And you think about how you met people in your life. It's usually common interest. Maybe you both were in the same class. Maybe you both did hockey together. Maybe you both play music together and met playing music together. Like whatever you have in common with someone. Maybe your parents were friends with each other and they're a family friend. That's how we make connections with people. You want to do the same thing in sales when you're prospecting people cold and kind of going over that stuff. So anyway, if this was useful, please do something with it. Share it, engage it. Follow me on LinkedIn, follow Mazda, follow Pitchfire. I do want to plug something really quick for people. We're putting a lot of content up on Pitchfire's YouTube now. So if you go on YouTube and type in Pitchfire, you can actually see some content that we're putting up there. We're trying to get away from just talking about Pitchfire and talk more about some stuff in sales, marketing, demand gen. I'm going to try and basically make it so that if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, all the things that I've gone through and learned from marketing over the years, I can share with everyone here, and same with sales too. So go hit that subscribe button and like it. I know it's cliche to say. You can judge us. It's okay. Anyway, that's it. Mazda, thanks for your help and thanks for letting me pitch you today.
Oh, hey, we should talk about the greatest pitch ever too. We're putting on a webinar talking more about how to create the greatest pitch ever and judging actual pitches that get sent in through Pitchfire.
Ooh. And I don't want to spoil anything, but we are doing it with a couple friends. Who's going to be doing it with us, Mazda?
We're doing it with Lauren Bailey and Sarah Brazier.
Whoa. I want to plug Lauren Bailey really quick. So Lauren Bailey's part of Girls Club. She's started Factor 8. We've had hundreds of pitches in Pitchfire. Lauren's pitches on Pitchfire are the best that I've ever seen. Like they're very, very good. They're better than what I just showed you. She's better at sales than I am. Like she knows how to do it. She's so good. So we're going to be going through, and anyone that signs up, we're going to review the pitch you wrote in Pitchfire, and go through it and grade it and give you some advice on how to make your pitch better. With both Sarah Brazier and Factor 8. Sarah recently started a company. If you haven't heard about it, it's called Dimeo. Am I saying it correctly? How'd I do?
Nope. You did terrible. It's called Demo.
Demo. I always
Demo rhymes with demo.
It's the problem is we did a bunch of stuff with Demio, like during conference con. So I keep mixing up the words and I'm terrible at it. But shout out to Sarah Brazier. Really excited about her company. It's kind of cool. You should go check it out. We put a demo up of Pitchfire on there if you want to check it out too, but you just saw one kind of. But really excited about this event. It's going to be really fun. Submit a pitch, and we're going to put the landing page link in afterward. Go look. Mazda will be posting about it on LinkedIn today. So go find us and do it. All right. Are we good? Are we wrapping up?
Yeah, we can wrap up.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Casey. Thank you, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.